Welcome to the first annual TAKREEM USA Awards Night.
The dawn's early light was so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our MC tonight, Mrs. Rida Fakhri.
Carlos Sosa, thank you for this beautiful rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner. What a fitting way to begin and kick off this event. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends. Let me first begin by welcoming you all on behalf of the organizers and the hosts to this event, to the launch of TAKREEM USA here in Miami. Now, it's an honor, of course, for me and everyone here, I hope, to be celebrating this evening a new milestone, a long-awaited moment in a remarkable, impressive journey that began over a decade ago. As with many important moments in life, this one represents both a culmination and a beginning. For many of us living here in the United States, dare I say for everyone in this room and way beyond these walls, this initiative creates a purpose of unity across our vast, disparate, diverse communities, irrespective of the cultural differences, the political leanings, the other traditionally divisive factors that sometimes keep us apart. Because what this initiative does is it puts the spotlight on individuals who, through their work, through their tenacity, their vision, their generosity, are beacons of hope, agents of change, especially in this country, in the United States, where Hollywood and others, let's face it, have often created a stereotypical imagery of immigrant communities, particularly from our region, an all too misleading, simplistic, I would even say pernicious narrative. As a broadcast journalist based in Washington, D.C., I know how important words, semantics are in the way we shape the narratives and the way other people's perceptions of who we are is shaped. So it is my distinct privilege to introduce this evening, a little later on, TAKREEM USA's first laureates, all of them exceptional, inspirational individuals who have broken down barriers, who've shattered stereotypes, who've really created and forged their own and their communities' powerful narratives and success stories. As I explained to my daughter, who's 12 years old and back home in DC, the purpose of my trip to Miami, I told her how thrilled I was to be participating in an awards ceremony where there would be truly inspirational people being honored and recognized for the work they do. She quickly asked, "And so where are you going?" Well, I tried to conceal my slight irritation and ward off her cheekiness by fudging the question and explaining to her that what makes an individual inspirational isn't the award they get. Inspirational individuals get awards because they're inspirational, not because they have awards. Now, of course, none of that mattered. I don't think I convinced her. In fact, I'm quite sure I did not. As a journalist, I usually like to ask the questions, not answer them. So my turn to ask you all, why are we all here this evening? Here are a few good reasons.
To come from the Arab world is to come from a place of constant change, a place that is as rich and diverse as it is misunderstood. In 2010, TAKREEM set out to right a wrong, to remind the world that Arab men are not the bearded villains of Western stories, that Arab women are not the invisible victims who have lost their voices. TAKREEM set out to remind the world that the people of Arab countries are agents of change. They are pioneers and freedom fighters, albeit ones often crushed under oppressive regimes.
TAKREEM is here to tell these stories, stories of success, progress, cooperation, and true bravery.
The underlying mission of the organization, which is the mission of spreading hope. And if we can actually change one life in a region that might have a lot of desperation right now, then the mission would have been accomplished.
Throughout the past 12 years, in times of peace and war, it has honored and awarded close to 100 laureates, building bridges between North Africa, the Middle East, the Gulf, the worldwide Arab diaspora, particularly America. In 2019, TAKREEM USA was born.
With a group of driven friends, we founded TAKREEM USA in 2019 as a portal connecting Arab Americans and immigrants from the Middle East to their roots and heritage.
We're very excited to launch TAKREEM USA. My family immigrated to the United States more than 4 decades ago, and for 4 decades, we've been on a mission to correct the false perceptions and narratives about our roots and Middle Eastern culture.
It is from that simple yet profound desire to strengthen the bond that ties Arab Americans to their motherland that TAKREEM USA saw the light.
We celebrate the success of Americans from Middle Eastern origin and share their stories with over 1 billion people to help, empower, and inspire them to believe in themselves.
It spotlights accomplished men and women in science, environment, culture, and business.
These laureates, not only they up-leveled themselves through their success, but also they elevated their communities with them because of their selfless services and philanthropic actions.
With your support, TAKREEM USA can inspire the next generation of immigrants. It can foster initiatives of change and connect impactful stakeholders to one another.
We may all live in different places and play different instruments, but TAKREEM will inspire us and bring us together to whistle along to the same melody. It's the melody of the best of the Middle Eastern world.
Their stories deserve to be told, and therefore TAKREEM USA is telling them, so that people, young and old, all around the world, can know what it means to be immigrant.
TAKREEM USA is where we show the world what the Arab American community truly stands for. It is where we remind ourselves who we are and find the strengths in one another as a community to become even more.
And so that is what brings us here tonight, an initiative that embodies that change and inspires that hope. To be part of something purposeful, to build on the cultural ties that bind us, to recognize the role models among us, to lend our support, our individual, our collective support to the teeming youth of our region, to the youth who represent about 60% of our countries of origin in the Middle East and North Africa. Imagine that, 60% of them under the age of 25. To do what we can to help the younger generation build a better future, create the change they both crave and deserve. And it all started with TAKREEM from Beirut to Miami, through a few capitals in the region. It's been a long, often difficult, no doubt, but always and ultimately a rewarding journey. No challenge has been too daunting, no obstacle too high or too insurmountable, through a global pandemic, through how many crises, there are too many to count, that the region and the wider world is facing, through a crippling socio-economic crisis facing Lebanon today. One man has refused to give up. He has kept the faith, and it is thanks to his unflinching dedication, his unique vision, his determination, dare I say, stubborn determination, and I only just met him today, so I have to be on my best behavior, that we are here tonight to celebrate the continuing successes and the new beginnings of the foundation that he established about 11 years ago. Please welcome the founder of TAKREEM, Ricardo Karam.
Thank you, Hida. We're proud of you. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Masal Khair, and welcome. We are in times of war, once again. Today, it's Russia invading Ukraine. Yesterday, it was Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and in between countless territories remained occupied by colonial armies, invading forces, or obstinate dictators. Like all wars, this too shall one day end, hopefully soon, and another shall one day begin, and then another, and another, and so it goes. Every once in a while, a leader will want to snatch more than what he has. And I say he because there is usually his. Another great argument for seeing more women in power and less men, by the way. Mankind destroys. Mankind manufactures pain. I was watching a video of an Ukrainian woman crying as she sings the national anthem and cleans the broken glass from her apartment. It moved me. It reminded me of Beirut, just a few months ago, when we were cleaning broken glass after the August 4th explosion, an act of war of a different kind. We who come from the Arab world are no strangers to war. We grow up alongside it. We watch it from our school desks. We wave it from our bedroom windows. We get used to it, to the uncertainty and the consistency of it all. We come up from a place where people kill and get killed in the name of religion, where innocents die in the profit-driven games of international powers. But we who come from the Arab world also know this. This war is just one side of the story. It is the front page, but hidden behind it are countless stories of everyday life, of success, of forgiveness, of love. During war, we fell in love. We raised families. We protected. We made friends. During war and despite war, we built beautiful things. We took the difficult path. We built bridges. We spoke truth, but it felt like it didn't matter because war was always on the front page. War was the story, and we were just forgotten details. This is why I started TAKREEM. TAKREEM would be a reminder that during pain and trouble, there would always be something good to talk about. That the front page is not war. It is the people opposing war with life, love, and success. The idea came to me after 9/11, and a particularly thorough search I had to endure at the American border, just for being Arab. Being Arab is something to be proud of, I thought. The world misunderstands it. To be an Arab living in the States is to grapple with this misunderstanding daily. At least it used to be. But I hope I'm not being overly optimistic when I say this might be changing in certain places. And that's largely thanks to people like you, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pride to stand here among Arab Americans who have played a part in advancing both the Arab world and America. Among people who have embraced their origins and mixed identities and forged something stronger out of them, something that defies prejudices. What makes me myself rather than anyone else, Amin Maalouf writes, is the very fact that I'm poised between two countries, 2 or 3 languages, and several cultural traditions. It is precisely this that defines my identity. Would I exist more authentically if I cut off a part of myself? Beautiful words by a great author. I related to Amin Maalouf as the son of an immigrant myself, poised between 2 countries. My father moved to Venezuela, and it was because he passed away that we moved back to Lebanon. I was 6 months old. A special welcome to my father's friend, present here tonight, Sarkis Yamin. Your presence means the world to me. So, it was my dad's passing that brought my very small family back to my home country, that melting pot of cultures where my dual identity was developed. It was there that I would build a career that would take me from Lebanon to the world, different countries, different cultures, different worlds. My role, as I decided, was to bring out the best of these worlds and show it to everyone. Another line by my friend Amin Maalouf comes to mind. The truth is rarely buried, he says. It is merely lying behind veils of modesty, pain, or indifference. The one prerequisite is a passionate desire to lift the veils. This is TAKREEM for me. It is a passionate desire to lift the veils. But why stop at the Arab world? Arabs are all over. And from TAKREEM's labor, TAKREEM USA was born. TAKREEM had to grow, and grow it did. Much like our diaspora, we have made the journey overseas to celebrate the success of Arabs everywhere, not just at home. TAKREEM USA is meant as a testament to the invaluable achievements of Arabs who came to America with very little and were able to do so much. With a group of friends whom I deeply thank, one by one, I co-founded TAKREEM USA in 2019 because Arab Americans have gone to great heights. You have made a name for yourselves, but in doing so, you have made a name for our countries. You have built bridges at a time of building walls, and for that, I thank you. Tonight, we are officially launching the foundation and kicking off a journey with new objectives and new milestones. Allow me to thank all those who made it possible. New Levant Initiatives, Anthony Abraham Foundation as our presenting sponsors, our gold sponsors, Nijad and Zena Faris, Emil and Dina Haddad, Richard and Kate Westmark, Qatar Embassy to the United States. Our silver sponsors, Royal Highness Princess Rial of Jordan, Antoine and Nadia Mukarzil, Ghassan and Manal Saab, Oscar and Carol Sayali, the UAE Embassy to the United States, Francois and Micheline Nader. Our bros sponsors, George and Liz Alters, Razmik and Annie Boladian, Hazem and Salma Shahabi, Remo and Carmen Debane, Abdel Huda and Samia Faroui, Fuad and Nancy Hibri, Habib and Lara Kairouz, Luay and Katharina Al-Dada, Hussein Ghida Al-Daberji, and Salim Sassin. I thank my team who has worked tirelessly to pull this off. It was much hard. I thank you all present here tonight for sharing my dream, our dream. I'm grateful to all my friends who came from all over tonight. Not only they did fly from LA, San Francisco, Michigan, Boston, DC, New York City, Houston, Chicago, Atlanta, Baltimore, Dallas, but also from Montreal, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Marbella, London, Paris, Geneva, Dubai, Bahrain, and Beirut, home. Tonight is an evening of hope, love, and celebration of success. This success has resonated not only in the 50 states, but also back home. Home, if you allow me, I would like to dedicate this night to my home, Beirut, this small, misunderstood capital of charm. Tonight is another night the city spends in darkness. It is a city that has been through so many wars of so many kinds, but continues to somehow inspire love. Beirut has taught us just how horrible wars can be, but it has also taught us that wars can end. We love you back, Beirut. May we meet again next year in times of peace. Thank you.
How to turn the pain of an entire people, an entire country into action. Ricardo Karam, a living testament to the resilience and ever optimistic spirit of the Lebanese people and the people of the wider Middle East who've been through their fair share of challenges in the last few years, not to mention the last several decades. That spirit of generosity, creativity, and entrepreneurship. Which brings us to our first award this evening. The first award is for Young Entrepreneur. It's my pleasure to invite to the stage Oscar Saikali, and his daughter Tatiana. I'm sure you know them all very well. They are pillars of Miami and the Lebanese community in Miami. Oscar Saikali, an avid art collector, a TAKREEM USA founding board member. Pleasure to see you. And Tatiana, thank you both for joining me on stage. And without giving too much away, I will just say that TAKREEM USA's first laureate, the first recipient of the award for young entrepreneur, embodies so much of what we all would love to be. Not just younger, and fine, I'll speak for myself only, but successful and rewarded by what we do. And that might be an understatement. If you don't believe me, just take a look to find out how this young entrepreneur turned a $10,000 investment into 600 million. And in how many years? Just 5. This is the true art of the deal. Take a look.
RX Bar's core ingredients are real simple food.
That decision to voluntarily recall the product almost bankrupted us. We started in my parents' kitchen and then moved to their basement. Especially in the beginning, it's straight survival, and you door-to-door calling, whatever it is, there's no bad sales call. One bar, selling one bar, that turned up, 100 bars.
When you're feeling good, you put it all out there.
Are you eating? As we grew and sales grew, we eventually got a food production space where we scaled our own manufacturing, got up to about 10,000 bars a day, 15 people on payroll, all helping out with the production of the product. But it was the best decision we made. When we decided to sell the company, we told our whole team, we brought them in super early in the process.
Is that your favorite one?
The challenges I see coming up as their company grows would be scaling our culture and the way we work as we go from 120 people to 250 people.
I was privileged to be from a family where both sides were very, very entrepreneurial. Any success I've had to my parents and the DNA and the culture we come from.
It is in the DNA, he says. I wish it were that simple. I think it's safe to say that our winner's brain might be wired a little differently to yours and mine. He apparently reads 5 books at the same time. Please welcome to the stage TAKREEM USA's first laureate, Peter Rahal, co-founder and former CEO of RX Bar.
First, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. It's an amazing group of people, all beautiful, of course. And I want to thank the TAKREEM Foundation for organizing everything. And I don't feel like I deserve this, but thank you. So, just a little bit of my story. So, both my grandparents immigrated from Lebanon to the United States. They made the ultimate sacrifice. They had nothing to their name, and both, I grew up in a different family than most of my peers. Like, in my house, we had the reputation of overfeeding everyone that came over. My dad kind of inappropriately kissed everyone, and that was unfamiliar to most Americans. And then on both sides of my family, they're all entrepreneurs. And it wasn't like talked about as like, oh, we're entrepreneurs. It was more like, yeah, Joe's got a business here, and Michael has a business here. And so I grew up with like business, family, entrepreneurship, all being very integrated. And I thought it was normal. And it was just kind of what we did, very commercial, the merchant history is strong. And so for me, when I was like 25, I was like, all right, well, I got to start a company. And I was broke, had no money. And I was like, all right, well, all the protein bars are full of shit. And they actually were. And you always tell, if you look at our product, the RX bar, it was clearly formulated by someone from the Middle East. It's dates, eggs, almonds. So these are the foods I grew up with. Anyway, what? Tabbouleh? No, it's not stable. Yeah, so I started, and obviously, as you saw, it was a good success. But it wasn't until I went to Beirut and I spent some time with my friend Nimmer at AUB, and that I realized that I was able to connect the dots. I was like, holy shit, this is a Lebanese thing, this entrepreneurial DNA, this sort of, unstoppable work ethic and determination. So, I always thought my family was a little just different than everyone else, but it wasn't until I went to Lebanon in 2012 that I was like, oh wow. And I had a tremendous source of pride that, my origins are greatly responsible for my success. So thank you everyone here. It's a privilege, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter, and congratulations once again. There will no doubt be a long list of people waiting to pick your brains. I've actually put myself first on that list, Peter. I hope you won't mind. Our next award is for cultural excellence, and here to present this award is a 19-time Grammy Award winner, a Cuban-American musician, and if that isn't enough in terms of DNA, Cuban-American of Lebanese descent. A recipient of the Presidential Medal of Honor of Freedom, the highest civilian award given here in the United States for his cultural and other contributions. Please welcome to the stage Emilio Estefan and Salma Shihabi, a founding member of TAKREEM USA. Now, TAKREEM USA's second award this evening honors the work of a screenwriter, a director, producer, an actor of Palestinian and Jordanian descent. She's someone who, from an early age, refused to sit back and watch the stories that were being told about fellow Arabs living in America. She decided the narrative, the portrayal, needed to change, and that is exactly what she set out to do, realizing early on that she could reach more people through film, through fiction, than politics.
I have a political sort of activist background and became a filmmaker because I thought there was an opportunity to tell stories that change the way people see things.
You don't have citizenship. Where are you from?
The Palestinian territory.
Your occupation?
It is occupied for 40 years.
It came from the need to tell our story, to tell the story of what happened during the first Gulf War when my dad, who's a doctor, lost a lot of his patients, and the Secret Service visited my high school because my sister threatened to kill the president. It was the first time in my life that I actually started to admit to myself that I wasn't just American. The way that I think about directing is that you are the first audience for your film. And there are these moments when it feels so real that it touches you, that it draws something out of you. Directing and acting simultaneously was an enormous challenge. I think it's a side of the Middle East that we don't otherwise get to see, with incredible history and incredible stories.
Marrying outside your religion never works.
You absolutely have to trust your gut, is to kind of always be in touch with your own instinct. And that's the way that I work.
An award-winning filmmaker whose powerful movies and feature films tell the story of being Arab in America and American in the Middle East, how two worlds can merge but often collide. It's my pleasure to invite TAKREEM's Cultural Excellence Laureate, Shireen Davis, to receive her award.
Thank you so much. This is unbelievably moving, actually, to be here with you all. And to just be in one room with so many of us is unbelievable, especially after spending the last couple of years in fat pants at home for the most part. Thank you so much to TAKREEM. I'm so profoundly moved by the work that you do. I have to admit that I was not familiar with the organization before being nominated for this, so thank you for bringing me here, for making me aware of this incredible journey that you took to be here. It's really wonderful to be in the same room with you all. And it's really poignant to me to be honored for cultural excellence in particular. And that's because I'm an Arab American kid, and I grew up Palestinian Jordanian, born in the US. Thank you. Didn't choose it, but I'm so proud of it. And I always thought of myself as a bridge. As a kid, I always thought of myself as a bridge. I always felt I had one foot in the US and one foot in the Arab world. And I felt like I was always working to bring the two sides of my identity closer together. It was a need of mine. As you saw in the video during the first Gulf War, my family experienced some ugly and aggressive discrimination. We were stereotyped, we were even ostracized from the community of our small town. And it became clear to me at that tender age of 14 that we Arabs were radically misunderstood. So my career grew out of a need. It was a need similar to the creation of TAKREEM, actually. It was a need to right a wrong. It was a need to shatter stereotypes, to make sure that people saw us and understood us and heard our side of the story, and to make sure that we as a community were authentically represented. We heard a little bit about the way in which Hollywood has portrayed Arabs, and I wanted to change that. I didn't have a choice, to be honest. It was such a mission from such a young age. In fact, my parents bought the first family camcorder when I was 12, and they handed it to me because I liked to work things and fix things as a kid. And I read the manual, like the geek that I was, and I started using it. And because I was bossy, I started telling people what to do on camera, and that's essentially how I became a director. And I told them what to say, and I told them where to walk, and it was just my way of having fun. So I was a director before I even knew what directing was, actually. The great Edward Said once said, "The power to narrate or to block other narratives from forming and emerging is very important to culture and imperialism and constitutes one of the main connections between them." I consider this recognition and acknowledgement of the power and importance of storytelling, especially within our community. I consider it a message to all Arab and Arab American storytellers out there working hard to authentically tell our stories and narrate our struggles. It's not easy, but it is necessary because cultural change is behavioral change and it is societal change. And though it doesn't always feel like it, and it's easy to sometimes lose sight of it, we are making a difference. And thank you so much for acknowledging that and confirming that here tonight. Thank you.
It's not easy, but so much needed. Thank you very much, Shireen, for doing your part in being such a role model and really creating change, not sitting idly by, as you say, watching how the depictions can veer off so far away from the reality of who our community often is and how it views itself. The next award is for environmental development and sustainability. It goes to someone who has made climate action a lifelong commitment, a vocation, a mission. He takes dedication and a willingness to not just talk the talk, but walk the walk, literally, quite seriously. That's exactly what our next laureate has done with his time and continues to do, raising awareness about climate change while creating renewable energy projects in Asia and across different parts of the world, and not doing and simply delivering the usual, as Greta Thunberg would say, blah, blah, blah. Here he is.
tens of millions. Climate refugees are seeking shelter. We delivered progress without sustainability.
We pay for climate change twice because on the one hand we subsidize fossil fuels and then we have to clean up after that.
Oil, gas and coal are still being backed by hundreds of millions of dollars per year by many countries. Attacking it is probably the most effective lever to change the world and move it to a safer place.
I'm a climate activist by night, and during the day I run a clean energy business in Asia.
When I started in this industry, I had not paid attention to the problem of climate change. What happens is you develop a passion for that cause. We as citizens, I think, have a responsibility to act by making our voice heard. The youth have seen through the climate emergency.
Entire ecosystems are collapsing.
Stop expecting everything from governments and development institutions and focus on how we get the stock market going. Indonesians and Latin Americans and Africans and Arabs, they want to stay at home, but their home has to be climate safe.
Asad Razouk is the recipient of TAKREEM USA's Award for Sustainable Development and Sustainability and Environmental Development. Unfortunately, he couldn't be with us here this evening, but he did send a video message. Here it is.
Dear friends, I am grateful for having been selected for this award today. Thank you so very much. As some of you may know, I have dedicated my professional and public life to direct climate action. I think every single one of us has a responsibility to make sure that we leave this planet in a better shape than what we have been granted. And that's today absolutely not the case. So I very much wake up every morning thinking about direct climate action, how best to affect it, and how best to affect it both as an individual and in groups, because we have to work together continuously to make sure that the environmental degradation, which you can see all around you, stops. As a Lebanese immigrant who's the son of another Lebanese immigrant to Brazil before he went back to Lebanon, we as a family have been in so many countries. And one of the things that I woke up to early on is just the extent of environmental degradation all around me, especially in countries at the front lines of climate change. Miami is one of the world's most endangered cities from sea level rise, which itself is a direct effect of the additional greenhouse gases that we've been pumping into the atmosphere from our fossil fuel economies, which really must transition to 100% renewable energy power, plus a huge global effort to stop and fight back against deforestation, eliminate plastic, restore wildlife. There are so many taking direct action so that these goals are accomplished in our lifetime. And that's what inspires me every day to try and do just a little bit more. And on that note, I'm going to leave you with a quote from the American anthropologist Margaret Mead, who said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, It's the only thing that ever has. Thank you so much again. Thank you. Thank you.
Asad Razou, change one step at a time, change that comes from all of us, every little bit that each one of us on an individual level can do, in addition to the private sector, of course, and the public sector, and governments who tend to take much longer than any of us can wait, a hugely important and consequential issue. Now, our next laureates, there are two of them, and this is an award that goes to people who have been recognized for their lifetime achievement. They're being recognized for their many invaluable contributions to their community here in the United States and back home. Let me first invite to the stage to present this award Dana Khoutaila, a Saudi plastic surgeon based in New York, and Khalid Janahi, a Bahraini banker based in Geneva. Now, of course, there's rarely a greater honor than a Lifetime Achievement Award, all the more so when the recipients are at the prime of their lives, making positive contributions, not just to their city, but to so many different facets of American public life. It's the continuing success story of a power couple, immigrants from Lebanon, who've made the US their home and investing in a better future for everyone around them, their vocation. Let's meet them.
Meet the power couple. Nijad and Zaina Faris have a history of success in both their respective fields, but it is their dedication to each other, to the family they built in Houston, and to the wider Lebanese community in the United States that defines their legacy. Zaina is the founding president of the American Foundation for Auxilia, a charity that supported children orphaned during the war in Lebanon. And she is a board member of the Arab American Education Foundation. Raising 4 beautiful children did not stop her from serving on the board of trustees of the Dukan Academy of the Sacred Heart for 6 years. Today, she is also trustee of the Museum of Fine Arts in Houston, where she also serves on the Development and Art of the Islamic World subcommittees. With her husband, she continues to reinforce the relationship of America's Lebanese communities to their homeland.
I am not just being diplomatic and patriotic.
Nijad served as the first president of the American Task Force for Lebanon. In 2006, he co-chaired, alongside President George H.W. Bush, the host committee of the U.S. Arab Economic Forum in Houston, which brought together over 1,000 businessmen, government representatives, and academics. In 2011, Mr. Faris was named to the Board of Governors of the Middle East Institute. He was also a senior board member of Harvard University's John F. Kennedy School of Government, a trustee of Lebanon's International College, and a member of Tufts University's Veterinary Board of Overseers. Nijad Faris is also a member of the Professional Board of Advisors of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Zaina and Nijad welcomed the Lebanese community into their home with open arms, not only in Houston, but in many other states across America too. Wherever the Lebanese gathered, the Farises were the first to join them, to show their support, and to offer their unbound care, never thinking twice before pulling the strings within their grasp to help their compatriots in whichever way was needed. As a testament to their grand generosity and enduring commitment to philanthropic endeavors, in 2011, both Nijad and Zaina Faris were granted an audience with His Holiness Pope Benedict XVI to receive his blessing. Although the Faris family is not Catholic, the Pope appointed Nijad Faris a Knight of the Papal Order of St. Gregory.
A recognition for all they've achieved together and what is yet to come. Please welcome our laureates, Nijad and Zaina Faris.
Zena is my speechwriter, so I couldn't have this on here. I have to ad-lib this one. I want to thank Zena, who is the love of my life, the best mother in the world, and the best wife in the world. And I gotta tell you, really, she's the brains and the looks of the operation. I'm just the mouthpiece here, okay? Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Now the official Zena speech. Zena and I are honored to be here this evening among such distinguished honorees and guests. When Ricardo first approached me about TAKREEM, I decided to investigate this organization before becoming engaged and committed to its cause. There are many NGOs doing great work out there, but there was a positivity and optimism that really impressed me with TAKREEM. What I found was an inspiring organization that honors geographically diverse contributors to the improvement of every facet of Arab society. From the political figures, artists, educators, and entrepreneurs, to the environmentalists, physicians, and philanthropists, TAKREEM has shined a spotlight not only on visible figures in the Arab world, but more importantly, on less famous but no less impressive activists who work in in improving the lives of our communities. To be included as an honoree is very special for us, and we are truly grateful. We've always believed in the power of positive messaging and education. TAKREEM's work recognizing new role models for Arab youth will have a tremendous impact in the years to come. Ricardo, Manal, Eva, the entire board, staff, and volunteers, we thank you for your vision and your dedication to bringing this organization and gathering to our beloved America. Bravo. Where's Ricardo? Our family has always believed that to whom much is given, of whom much is expected. My father is a self-made man who never forgot his roots or humble beginnings. He has lived his life giving back to the community in every way he could, and then followed his philanthropic efforts with many years dedicated to public service in Lebanon. In a country mired in corruption with self-serving politicians, he stood out as an honest, civic-minded servant of the people. His unblemished reputation is priceless. His achievements are staggering, but we are proudest of the countless scholarships he has funded. I cannot tell you how many times I've been approached by strangers telling me how that they have benefited from a scholarship and were able to go on to succeed and, more importantly, help others. He's been my role model. Success, if not shared, is meaningless. Wealth, if not used for good, is toxic. Power, if it's not used to help others, is worthless. We succeed to help others, not just for ourselves. We've been very blessed by the advantages we were given, but we've tried to never take them for granted and to use our time and treasure to help others. We're incredibly proud of our 4 children who are here with us tonight, and we know that they will continue to work for the public good. As Arabs, we have so much of which to be proud, including a rich cultural history. There have been multiple Arab recipients of Nobel Prizes in peace, literature, medicine, and even chemistry. But negative imagery and stereotypes have demoralized so many of our youth. Perhaps the most troubling fact is that the MENA region has the world's highest rate of youth unemployment at close to 30%. Closer to home for us, and the focus of tonight's gathering, is the heartbreaking situation in our beloved Lebanon. The shortage of medications, devaluation of the currency, the banking crisis, August 4th explosion, lack of electricity, and of course COVID, all together have created a bleak environment that has resulted in a mass exodus of some of our brightest stars. And no one can really blame them. But we have so many others that are staying and fighting for the country. We have brave young men and women on the ground in Lebanon, working for change and true democracy. We have brilliant minds that are striving to create a better tomorrow for our struggling country. The future is the youth of Lebanon. They have a unique opportunity this spring to effect change by voting out the current corrupt regime. The time is now to remind Lebanese politicians that they are supposed to be servants of the people and are stewards for the well-being of their citizens. We can all help the youth of Lebanon. There is so much work that needs to be done, and we implore you to do what you can to enable change in Lebanon. Whether it's through providing scholarships or basic needs to the disadvantaged, supporting aspiring artists, donating to educational institutions and think tanks, and helping in medical care and research. Please help the Lebanese people. If you're unsure of what to do, look at previous Takreem honorees for inspiration and direction. We thank you for bestowing this tribute on us, though I am concerned you've decided to give us the Lifetime Achievement Award at our not so old age. But we hope to continue to work the work of our family and have the confidence that Takreem's efforts will succeed in propelling our community to greater achievements. Thank you very much.
I had absolutely no intention of speaking this evening, but my daughters reprimanded me. And since we are at a gathering that honors both men and women, I felt I should just say thank you very much for being here, and thank you for everything that you're doing. And to reiterate Nijat's comments that I did right, I don't know if any of you have been to Lebanon recently, but the situation is really dire. It is worse than it has ever been. It is worse than it was during the war. So anything anybody can do to help would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Nijat and Zainab Faris, congratulations. A couple that is far too young to be getting a lifetime achievement. I guess it's a nod that you continue doing this and you may get another one in a few years, who knows. From one, and again, just to also emphasize the point you made, that so much of what is needed isn't just down to politicians and governments, but the power of civil society and philanthropists and foundations like yours. From one Lifetime Achievement Award to another power couple, truly exceptional people whose commitment to others and generosity has made a true, significant difference in people's lives. Their foundation is a testament to that commitment. Joining me first off on stage to present this second Lifetime Achievement Award, Mishkin Nader, founder of Gestra Foundation and TAKREEM board member, and Francois Nader, who is a leader in the pharmaceutical industry. It's a pleasure to welcome you both. Please join me. And as you make your way to the stage, it is time to meet our second Lifetime Achievement laureates. Here's who they are and what drives them.
Ghassan and Manal Saab, two names that have touched the lives of many, from America all the way to Lebanon. Milestones of success, awards, and accomplishments punctuate their careers. But it is their generous and continuous commitment to numerous causes that we celebrate today. Ghassan worked his way up to the top, becoming the president of the contracting company Sorensen Gross Construction in 1971. Today, he is the CEO, building homes and schools in his community. In 2003, Ghassan Saab also formed the Uptown Development Group with his friends to rejuvenate and rebuild the neglected and deteriorated downtown area of Flint, Michigan. Ghassan served on boards of various influential organizations, including the Lebanese American University, the Arab American Institute Board of Governors, the American Task Force for Lebanon, and the American Druze Foundation, among others. Ghassan and Manal have a long history of giving. Together, they have contributed time and resources to charities and organizations in their local communities, both in the US and abroad. Manal is the CEO of Sorensen Gross Construction Services in Flint. She serves on the board of trustees with the Community Foundation of Greater Flint, which coordinated the Flint water crisis response. She is also a patron and a member of the Board of Governors of St. Jude Children's Research Hospital.
Beirut needs you today.
After the August 4th blast in Beirut ravaged her city, Manal and her daughter coordinated a multi-million-dollar undertaking to deliver medical supplies to Lebanon. The effort was coordinated by the Ghassan and Manal Saab Foundation. Manal's care delivered urgent medical supplies to the 5 largest hospitals in Lebanon at a time of dire need. Lebanon remembers the support of the Saabs, and America remembers too. It's not every day that you come across a family like the Saabs, whose generosity extends across the Atlantic and back. And yet, here they are, pushing forward and inspiring us along.
I'm delighted to welcome to the stage Ghassan and Manal Saab, whose philanthropic work speaks for itself.
You do this.
Okay. I'm not emotional, I'm embarrassed. I had no clue. So I prepared nothing. And it's obviously a great honor and a great tribute to be sharing with Nijad and the other laureates this evening. This honor is just beyond words. I leave it up to you whether we're deserving or not, but we do our best. We try. I remember this old story about, here, you carry this.
Oh my God.
About a long time ago in a far kingdom where the word was out that the sky was falling. So the king summons all his knights, and as they were approaching the city and the main palace, one night on his horse, he looks down and he sees a little bird on his back with his tiny little legs up towards the sky. So he goes down and says, "Little bird, what are you doing?" He says, "Haven't you heard? The sky is falling." And he says, "You think you can prevent the sky from falling with these tiny legs of yours?" He says, "No, but I do what I can." And and we do what we can.
Now you hold this. Oh, wow. This is very humbling, and to share the evening with all of you, but more so to share the platform with stars like the laureates we are celebrating tonight is truly an honor. I want to congratulate all the laureates and to say how honored we are to be amidst you. But I also want to congratulate TAKREEM and welcome TAKREEM to the United States of America. Look around you. Look at this room. You are all individually very successful for whatever reason that brought us to the United States. Earlier today, we had the Tech Minds Forum, and we heard from many of you how much we can accomplish if we are successful collectively together. So, you know, none of this, no one achieves anything on their own. Since tonight is dedicated to Lebanon, I would be remiss if I don't highlight my partners in the Lebanon Relief Project. When the explosion of August 4th happened, we got the call from the American Task Force from Lebanon. It was Ambassador Edward Gabriel, 48 hours, 72 hours later. And he said, Washington is with us, what can we do? But it took many, many volunteers, and with the help of ATFL, the Department of State, and a few good friends, and some of them are here tonight. The Lebanon Relief Project, and this belongs to you, and the ones that are here, I have to name you. I want to start with Huda Zaghbi. When it happened, Huda, with one click in an email, I loaded up 2 planes from Houston alone of medications and PPEs to send to Lebanon. And then when we found out that due to sanctions, we can't land planes, American planes or Canadian planes in Beirut, comes in Adib Kassis. Adib, I would like you to stand. When I was told it's impossible, and for those that know me, know that the word impossible to me is full of possibilities. It doesn't exist, because what is impossible? It has 3 words. I am possible. So there's no such word as impossible. Adib told me, get it as close to Lebanon, and I will make sure it gets into Beirut. Our cargo plane landed in Istanbul. He relocated the largest 3 Middle East passenger airline planes from London to Istanbul and loaded up all those pallets, tons and tons of medications in the stomach of passenger planes, and sent it down to Beirut. 2 planes a day, over 3 days, and we had all the medications and the PPEs in Beirut. And I want to tell you, Emil Haddad, Emil after the explosion, Razmik Balidian, Luay Eldada. But I also I would be remiss if I don't highlight 3 powerful ladies. Maha Freish, where are you? Stand. When people were calling and say, how can we help with Lebanon? I said, I need meds. They said, we don't have any connections in the medical field. Maha reached out and said, you know, you're turning away donors who want to help, and you have such a huge cost with airlifting, logistics, palletizing. Why don't you open up a Lebanon Relief Project Fund within the Center for Arab American Philanthropy? It was her idea. She did this fund. It's still housed at the Center for Arab American Philanthropy, and to this day, they manage and handle all the accounting for Lebanon Relief Project. Over $50 million of medicines and medical supplies sent over to Lebanon since the explosion. And that's Maha Freish. Where are you? Please stand. This award is also with you. One more lady, Natasha. Where is Natasha, our General Counsel for TAKREEM? Natasha, please stand. Natasha, when we were renting warehouses all over the country, because of the generosity of Americans, we couldn't even keep up. All these volunteers, Natasha coordinated all the volunteers, handled all the warehouses. All we had to do is grab it East Coast, Midwest, DC, New York, and start shipping from the West Coast, be it direct relief or be it from New York. And last but not least, where is Micheline Nader? This is for you. Micheline and Francois Nader, quietly behind the scene. You know, you have partners, you have big pharmaceuticals, and one of the biggest is direct relief on the West Coast. In the United States, you can't just send meds, you know, big pharma. So everything has to be approved. You can't just send things. Usually, everybody follows catastrophe. However, when the next thing happens somewhere else in the world, they drop you. Thanks to Micheline's relationships, Micheline and Francois Nader's relationship, they kept Lebanon a priority for direct relief. She always checked on me, and now she's an equal and a permanent, they are an equal, just a foundation, their foundation is an equal and a permanent partner of Lebanon Relief Project. And I couldn't have done it without everyone I just named who's here tonight. And Habib Kairouz. So thank you. This is all for you.
Let's get to the next one. It is an award for corporate leadership. It is in recognition of the extraordinary contributions made by someone who sits at the helm of one of America's leading medical technology companies specializing in cardiovascular disease and other critical diseases. Here to present the award are Dina Haddad and Emil Haddad. Emil Haddad, a community developer and founding member of TAKREEM USA. Can I ask you both to join me next to the stage? And so who is the recipient of TAKREEM USA's Corporate Leadership Award? All I will say is he is someone who says he truly values the inspiration he gets from others.
I would love to be able to actually measure hearts in this audience.
We haven't given up on this idea that we can make healthcare better.
Helping patients is our life's work. That's the end of our credo. When you actually dialogue with a patient that's gone through an experience and to see in their eyes what it was like, it brings to life everything that we're about. There have been remarkable improvements over the years. We've been able to make the system smaller and less invasive. The patients recover faster. I think what helps me be successful is I'm surrounded by an incredible group of people. The future is what matters. Reach high, take risks, dream big, and never stop learning. Look around you for inspiration. You might change your own life or the lives of others. All right. You know, I get a chance to be with talented people from all around the world. It just causes you to think deeply about each person and know that they have their own story and their own set of accomplishments that deserve to be respected.
Our warm congratulations to Michael Musallim.
Okay, wow. I am sincerely humbled and honored. And to follow those that came before me, there's some pretty incredible stories and pretty incredible people. You should know that I'm 100% Lebanese, right? So this is my heritage. My grandparents came turn of the century. We're talking about the last century, not this one. And they came, I thought, from Zahli, although I was corrected several times tonight. We're very much, well, I'll just put it this way. My grandfather, who came here with the idea, and he was told that in America, the streets are paved with gold. And you know what? He might be right? Because it worked out pretty well for our family and for so many in this audience. I was also very much raised as an American. And so that's always gets kind of dicey, right? I remember growing up as a kid, and I was taught, you know, as part of my upbringing, that whenever somebody offers you food, you should always say, no, thank you. And if you did that 3 times, then you could finally say yes and take the food. And I used to go over to my friend's house for lunch, and the mom would offer me lunch, and I'd say, no, thank you. And after missing lunch a few times, I finally figured it out that this wasn't going to work out so well. But I was so fortunate. I grew up in a very loving family, and my parents lived their life to give their kids a better life. And that was the center of their universe, and it was always about family. And so I was so fortunate in that regard. I know I wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for the work of Edwards Life Sciences. I'm surrounded by so many great people. There are 16,000 employees around the world that really do live this idea that helping patients is our life's work. And we have the opportunity to do this transformative work that really can change the lives of so many. And that's inspiring for all of us. I just want to take the opportunity to do a few thank yous. First, thank you to TAKREEM US for bringing us all together tonight. Ricardo, Karam, your vision, your dedication,
really inspiring future generations to care and to build community is so impressive. TAKREEM's USA Board of Directors and Advisory Board, which includes our good friends Salma and Hazem. The jury board for their time and efforts recognizing the people who are involved tonight. And to my colleague and friend, Emil Haddad, where are you, Emil? Thank you so much. He's a previous honoree and a really valued leader in our community in Southern California. And to my wife, Linda, who's with me tonight, married for 45 years, and I'm a very lucky guy that I've got you. So. Finally, I just have this privilege, just because of the work that I do, to travel to all corners of the world, and you get reminded on a regular basis that each of us are so different, but each of us are so the same, isn't it? And I think it's a reminder to me. I know this award is going to be very meaningful next time our large family gets together, and I get a chance to brag about this, and we have a lot of family parties together, but it truly is an honor and a privilege to be amongst the laureates tonight. I applaud the work that's going on at TAKREEM to advance humanity, inspire our youth, and really to affect change and create community. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Mike Musallam, for a richly deserved award. Now on to the next and final award of this evening. It is in recognition of the groundbreaking work done in science and technology. I'm pleased to invite to the stage Drs. Kay and Richard Westmark. They are both Lebanese at heart, major philanthropists, and both medical doctors. A pleasure to welcome you to the stage while I say a couple of words about our final laureates. She is a Lebanese-born American neurogeneticist whose scientific discoveries have led to new ways of thinking about neurological diseases, including Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and autism. He is a renowned Lebanese-American cardiologist who wears too many hats to mention. Let's find out who they are.
Without research, it's almost impossible to really understand devastating neurological diseases.
About 1% of the population has some form of adult congenital heart disease.
Telling them your child has a neurologic problem is the most devastating. I grew up in Lebanon and started medical school at the prestigious American University of Beirut.
Being a foreign-born, the opportunities in the United States are amazing. I don't think you're going to have any opportunity like this in the world.
One of the very special moments was opening a chapter of the American College of Cardiology in Lebanon and giving back to the country.
Technology is wonderful, and it makes access to information unbelievably quick and easy. But mere information is not sufficient to produce change.
It is striking how much we learned about the broader, more common diseases from the discovery of RED. I don't say I'm going to cure a disease, no. But what I would really like to do is at least see these patients doing a lot more, enjoying life a lot more.
You're a better physician because you recognize other needs beyond yourself. If you serve, in addition to serving with your knowledge and your input, this is for the common good of the society, the community at large.
Dr. Huda Zohbi and Dr. William Zohbi. What a great way to end this segment of our proceedings this evening.
Thank you. Where are you? I'm here. We are speechless. I mean, when we got the call that we will receive this award from TAKREEM, we were incredibly touched because we've known how much Ricardo has done for the Arab world to really connect the world to the accomplishments of people in all over the region. And to hear we're being honored by him and the board and the advisors of TAKREEM was extremely special. But sitting through tonight and hearing about everyone, watching what everyone has done for the community, for the country, for the region, we are truly humbled. There's just no way to express. I know I'm speaking for both of us. We had some script, but I'm ditching the script because honestly, we are very moved and so proud to see what our community can accomplish. And hearing about the achievements of Zena and Nijad and Ghassan and Manal, it's incredible. And really, we should just all follow suit. We should all do what we can. And this is very incredible. So, with that big, very heartfelt thank you, we'll let you know a little bit of who we are, what we've done. So we grew up in Lebanon, and we're extremely proud of our roots. We feel extremely fortunate that we grew up in families that really valued education. That's the only thing they pushed us to do, is to pay attention to our education and to have the freedom to explore. The freedom to explore was more in William's family, less in my family, because I wanted to explore literature and my mom insisted I explore medicine. She said, it's the only thing you're exploring. Literature could be your hobby. But I am really grateful for what she's done because I could never have imagined a more rewarding career in medicine. William, on the other hand, he loved engineering and explored that, and he actually ended up applying many engineering principles to the work he does for the heart. But I want to highlight really one of the most important things that made us who we are. We are who we are because of the high school education we had in Lebanon, because of the American University of Beirut that gave us the strongest foundation. They are the foundation for our success. Incidentally, AUB played another important role. That's where we met and we started the journey together, which we cherish, our partnership beyond everything else. So we would not really be here today if not for our formative years in Lebanon. And this is important. We plead with you to do everything you can to bring some vibrancy back to Lebanon. We plead with you to help its educational institutions. That's the only thing we have to give to the future generations. We really feel for all the people, all the students, all the youth of Lebanon, and we have to all of us do everything we can. We know, Ricardo, TAKREEM is one conduit for you to bring the Lebanese and what they contribute to the limelight, but we have to do this forcefully because our country desperately needs us, and knowledge is the best power we can give them, so we hope we can do more of that.
Well, few words, Huda. Good evening, everyone, and certainly we are humbled and so proud of our roots, of where we come, to share that with you and share our journey with you, because what I wanted to share with you is the excitement of medicine and science that hopefully we can instill in the new generation. Each one of us was intrigued by a phenomenon during our training or early on in our training. Huda saw a very interesting patient that she hadn't seen before, somebody with Rett syndrome, and some of you may have heard about that. This was the impetus for her to search more. Other people may have sat and said, fine, this is another patient, I can, treat them. But I think it is the inquisition hopefully instilled in many of you here, many of your children, many of your colleagues, that would push the envelope to a different level. I was intrigued, and it's very interesting that Mr. Musallem, him and I connected because of our interest in the field before coming here tonight. Because I was interested in valvular heart disease, and something that you hear about a lot. And things have changed so much that now, within the past 10, 15 years, instead of doing open heart surgery, you can replace a heart valve just with a catheter. People can go home the same day, can go back to work the day after if they're willing. They may take 2 days, but they can go. But it is really amazing, and I think this is, my impetus was to making sure I help these patients, so not everybody has to go to a heart catheterization and develop all these methodologies. And it's very interesting how your background just shapes up as you grow. Because I was interested in engineering and math, and I found a path within medicine to help patients at the same time use my skills to contribute in a way that you could do most diagnostics nowadays for heart without reverting to heart catheterization. Now, we could not certainly have done this without the help of many. Our institutions in Houston, and actually we've been in Houston for close to 40 years now. And you don't have to hop from one place to another. If you have the support that you need to realize your dream, your mission, and have the resources that are needed to push the field forward, you don't have to jump to just get a higher title somewhere else. And Huda and I felt very strongly about that, because Houston, the medical center, Baylor Methodist Hospital, really provided to us the milieu of higher professionalism and the resources that are needed to be able to build a neurological research institute, a cardiology department that I think we're all proud of. Well, we pursued science for only one reason, is to help patients, because each one of us have felt illness at some point in time. And your families, your friends, your parents. And I think whatever we can do to improve the lives, and not only the duration of life, but the quality of life, this is what we pursued and this is what we believe in. And I do hope also that most of the physicians that you're dealing with have this as their primary mission going forward, because that's what drives us together. We wanted also to share with you that, that pathway is not a straight line. It's not all about successes. It's not all about a discovery. Huda took about 17 years to discover her first gene of the same disease that she was intrigued with. It took me about 10, 15 years to be able to develop the methodologies to do that, but the good thing is, whenever you have some of these successes, it really keeps you going, not only because you see some of the fruits of what you're trying to do, but it gives you, and I think all of us are driven by this internal feedback that hopefully will push us forward and also entice and incite other people around you to get them to where you want to be. So where Huda, I think some of her very basic work now is getting to fruition. It's very exciting that some of these early discoveries are getting to clinical trials this year and this past year, which is really amazing. And I think these are devastating neurological diseases. And as I shared with you, I think the developments in cardiology is amazing. If I could leave you with one pearl, this is a disease that you can cut at least in half if you take care of yourself and do the right thing. So I believe strongly in prevention, in addition to management of if you have an ailment, so you know how to live well with the disease, but most importantly, how to stop the disease before it starts. So we're very excited about that. And for the young people in the room, the rewards from science are really immeasurable, because you could see the impact. At times it's a discovery in the lab, but you cannot take your eyes off the ball of where you want to be ultimately. What does it mean for patients? What does it mean for humanity? And at times you wonder, in this world that has a lot of violence and a lot of other things, it doesn't minimize, actually it makes it even more decent, more humane to think about each other and improve the lives of each other while we have some conflicts that we really have to resolve one way or another. So what I want to end you with is that it is a thrilling journey. We've been in this journey for many years. And it is thrilling because of the changes that we have seen together in both of our fields. And it's good that the mind and the heart work together. And we Before I leave the podium to Huda, I want to acknowledge that some of my family members are here. And I want to acknowledge certainly my brother who flew in from Paris on a surprise. I did not know that he was going to be here. And his beautiful two sons are here with us. So, and both of them are going into medicine. So this is very exciting.
Thank you again. I just want to maybe spend 1 or 2 minutes, a minute really, just to say how exciting the future is for science and medicine. I think that William touched on this, but you've heard it took me 16 years to find a gene just because the technology wasn't there. That same gene you can find in 1 day today. That's no exaggeration. This is how far the science has come. The technology to use DNA-based therapeutics, and we all benefited from RNA-based therapeutics with the vaccine. You can imagine all that's really available. The artificial intelligence and machine learning that's really helping making better diagnoses and already are in the clinic helping patients. So there's so much excitement that I feel this is really going to be wonderful for the next generation. Now, we've talked about discoveries and what we've done, but really what William and I value the most, what we consider our greatest accomplishment, are the students and fellows that we've trained. And we're very proud that many of these are Lebanese and Arabs from the region. And we hope those trainees, that's why we're so proud from this as an accomplishment, because we are each one individual. We can each only do so much. But the hundreds of trainees, they will multiply our effort and they will do it beautifully and they will keep moving with the science and really have a great impact. And closer to home, we have to mention our 2 children who couldn't be with us because they have tiny babies. But Rula is delivering the best possible care at the nation's largest children's hospital, Texas Children's Hospital. And Anthony is working really hard. He just took on a research career as a physician scientist to solve the most devastating psychiatric diseases. So we're very proud of them. We hope that by sharing our very humble beginnings, it gives an opportunity to every young person in the room or every young person you will channel our thoughts to see how capable they are and the opportunity they have ahead of them to make a difference. We can't wait to see what all the young people will accomplish. Thank you again for this great honor and for making it so special that we share it together. Thank you.
Thank you, Drs. Huda and William Zorbi. And if that wasn't inspiration and motivation to everyone in this room who still has the chance to choose a career. I don't know what is. A truly rewarding profession, extraordinary achievements. Thank you both for making the time to be here with us. And of course, as Dr. Williams said, one of the lessons is to be tenacious and perseverant. And one of the lessons I heard from Dr. Huda is always listen to your mom. She knows best. Let me just congratulate everyone. I hope you will all join me for a warm round of applause again to congratulate all of our laureates this evening. Congratulations to everyone. Before we close, I would like to thank on behalf of everyone here, TAKREEM, its founder Ricardo Karam, and the wonderful team of people who work tirelessly on this initiative. Thank you all so much for being here, for lending us your support. It has been an honor for me to be here with you at the launch of this important initiative, TAKREEM USA. As we end this evening, let us listen to Yelena Perez for this moving, deeply powerful song, Beirut, You're Not Alone. Thank you for showing us the importance of solidarity, for showing us that people can and do stand with Beirut through music.
Feel different, and it's in pain today. I'm remembering faces and places that we'll never see again. Life can change in a minute with no time to say goodbye. Life is full of surprises, and you can lose the one that you Beirut, you're not alone. You have my heart and soul. Even with difficult times, you became strong. How can we taking the blue from our skies, but they will never take the smile from the child, dreams and hope, baby. Help us rise. Oh, you're not alone. I am with you. Your heart will smile again. You never let me down. I believe in you, Beirut. Beirut, you're not alone. Your dreams will come. Beirut. Thank you.